Imagine you were a behavior dev playing a lot of Call of Duty, but the only part of the game you really enjoyed was the knife and tomahawk throwing. Then you question, what if I had 5 of them? This is how the Huntress came to be, released on the 27th of July 2017 alongside David King and the Realm Red Forest Mother's Dwelling. The devs had the excellent idea of, hey, our game has been around for an entire year. What if we made it free? Resulting in Huntress being one of the main killers you first play when loading up Dead by Daylight for the first time. Huntress's lore is something you'd think would be in depth, something cool. How could this woman possibly throw hatchets like that? The answer? Mommy issues. Yeah, apparently watching your mom get rammed with an elk into a tree results in you having excellent hatchet aim, and a hobby of kidnapping children for some reason. Huntress's base stats are nothing to be excited over. 4.4 movement speed normally, terror radius of 20 meters, which I can already tell you're thinking overtime and deciding stealth perks must be amazing on her. Which is where you're dead wrong. See, the devs not only wanted to make the first projectile killer in the game, but they also gave Huntress the first ever lullaby radius, which is her singing a Russian nursery rhyme for 45 meters. Huntress's power one of the most basic in the game. You can have 5 hatchets to throw, press the power button to charge the hatchet, and release to throw. You can cancel this ability by pressing M1. It's not 5 and done either. You can reload your hatchets at any available locker nearby, maxing you back out at 5 every time you do so. The skill of the hatchets is the arc changes the more you charge. So if you want to get over high walls, you have to lob the damn thing towards the moon like it's part of the NASA Space Billy program. While fully charged hatchets are better for the in-the-open shots towards survivors that swerve harder than whenever I play Mario Kart. Huntress has a lot of nuance to her hatchets though. Keep holding the hatchet up instead of throwing to zone the survivor into the correct area you want them to be in. Otherwise, 90% of your time learning this character will be waiting for survivors to be locked into animations at pallets and vaults for free hits. Here's the situation. A survivor runs into a pallet that is yet to be thrown. Chances are the survivor will either throw the pallet or greed the pallet. Depending on how close you are, it might be best to just throw a hatchet at them, for when they throw down the pallet they get stuck in the area and can't dodge. However, some survivors are true capitalists and hold W to greed the pallet, making you look like an idiot for readying a hatchet in the first place. Otherwise, Huntress has 2 more factors to her ability, snipes and holes. Snipes are something you just kinda get good at. I recommend running aura perks to really see where they are and throwing the damn fridges whenever you get the chance to. Holes are similar. If it looks wider than a flashlight, you can hit through it with the right distance and angle. Best way to learn these is just to experiment, while watching other people who do nothing but play Huntress all day and have already done this, saving you the trouble of actually trying to find these in the first place. Popular ones include Shack, these side things on Macmillan and Autohaven, Dead Dog Saloon, and these shots on Shattered Square. Otherwise, it's all about predicting. Survivors all act the same once you learn their movements, and knowing where they are or going to be leads to getting easy shots that will mostly result in getting called a cheater. Granted, some survivors are weird as hell and decide to randomly alt-tab into their YouTube video before running into the open. Side note, Huntress's M1 has her wiping her axe. If you look up during this animation, you can peer through her arms and see where the survivor is heading towards during the cooldown. The add-ons you can run on Huntress vary from why does this exist to stupidly OP, please change it for the dear of God. Of course I don't care about status effect add-ons, so we're skipping those. Yellow Cloth and Rose Root both increase the amount of zoom your hatchet goes. While this makes survivors get hit before they even register a hatchet has been thrown, it also makes every angle you learn with every other add-on not possible to use. Bandage Half and Oak Half both decrease the cooldown after throwing a hatchet. This is the difference between a survivor hopping a window and meeting the ground once the animation ends. Oak Half is the most used Huntress add-on, and most Huntresses will be running this one. Shine Pen makes you walk faster when holding a hatchet, and can result in hitting a survivor before they turn a corner. That's it. Mana Grass Breed and Flower Babushka both reduce the wind-up time to throw the hatchet. This does not change the fully charged time, just how quick you press the power button into letting the hatchet go flying in the first place. Leather Loop and Infantry Belt increase the maximum amount of hatchets you can have. One of the most popular add-on combinations is Infantry Belt and Oak Half to easily snowball any sorry survivors that want to actually be a team and group up for once. Deerskin Gloves let you open the locker faster. I know I said status effects are boring, but this is the exception to it. Wooden Fox grants the undetectable status effect for 30 seconds after reloading. This is not used for the stealth aspect, more for removing the ketchup stain every killer has during a match. Survivors can't dodge a hatchet if they can't mind game you at loops. Going Concoction removes any sort of prediction you have to do after hitting somebody. You see them for 5 seconds. Just line up a shot to make them sit back down. Huntress has 2 iridescent add-ons. You suck at Huntress and Meme Bubba gameplay. Soldier's Petit means the... Soldier's Petit? Soldier Pata? Whatever. Soldiers makes the Huntress 4.6 movement speed when she has 0 hatchets. Which if you ever reach 0 hatchets in a chase, you either didn't reload or messed up that many times to get value from this add-on. Iridescent Head limits you to 1 hatchet, but the benefit is that this hatchet now insta-downs. Unless you want to play like Max and just on top of objects sniping people, you're going to get two types of games. Everyone DCs, or if you're ultra sweaty for kills, you face camp the first hook you get with a hatchet. If you're like me, you'd like this add-on be changed to be similar to Deathslinger's Iridescent Coin and insta down from a certain distance away without any penalty. 40 meters sounds pretty fair to me. Huntress also comes with 3 perks. You suck at chasing, doesn't activate, and Doctor skill checks harder more. Beast of Prey makes you undetectable whenever Bloodlust activates. The problem is that whenever you ready up a hatchet as Huntress, you lose all of your Bloodlust. On other killers, it's a sign that the survivor is either in a strong loop and you should have left, or you have a lot more to learn about playing this game. Territorial Imperative shows survivors entering the basement when you're at least 32 meters away from it. If this ever activates, you will never be approaching the basement because why would you chase a survivor doing nothing? Also, servs don't enter basements outside of challenges and confusing you in check. Huntress Lullaby is a hex that makes the skill check noise get quieter and quieter every skill check. Now this is actually okay for slowdown, if you can get it to 5 stacks, and even then it's mostly only good on Doctor due to a shock blast making skill checks pop up in random places like Claudette players. Now there are currently 103 killer perks in the game, and with most being useless, so I'm only covering a few of them for different builds that I would personally use and mix match of, while also covering 2 perks that can become more problematic than families at Thanksgiving. Lethal Pursuer lets your eyes become beacons, seeing all survivors for the first 9 seconds of the trial. You also get to commit some magic on your eyes, extending all aura reading by 2 seconds. Now I'm aware this sounds kinda bad on its own, no one wants to run 11 seconds of aura reading with no other value, but then you realize you're playing American Sniper, and can stack this with 3 other aura perks and Glowing Concoction. One of those perks is Scourge Hook Floods of Rage. When a survivor is unhooked, all of their survivor auras are shown for 7 seconds. This lets you see the person mid-chase canceling all mind games, see people in the corner self-caring, and if they're healing at hook or not like they're supposed to. A recent addition to the killer perk roster is Nowhere to Hide. Kick one of those annoying red boxes called gens to reveal survivor auras for the next 4 seconds within 24 meters of you. This does not stick to the gen, by the way. The perk attaches itself to your eyes like leeches and says go that way to you. Barbecue and Chili lets you see survivors that are further than 40 meters from you whenever you hook someone. This just translates to an 8-time sniper scope whenever you hook a survivor. You have all the time in the world to angle a shot on that gen and get a hit. Use it. Dissolution activates whenever you hit a survivor. It's a bit grumpy though and doesn't like working instantly, so you have to wait 3 seconds before it wakes up. Then for 20 seconds, the next time a survivor fast vaults over a pallet in your terror radius, it breaks. Keep in mind if they slow vault, it doesn't break at all, but then you also have a hatchet to use to negate that. Iron Maiden is the first problematic family member I'm going to list. The perk itself is simple, lockers open 50% faster, and survivors get exposed for 30 seconds while screaming when exiting. The locker searching applies to reloading, which is why almost every Huntress player uses this damn thing. I'd suggest using it, but not becoming attached like your childhood pet. You'll lose a perk slot to it, and you will not be able to take it off without it being agonizing if you do. Hex Retribution shows survivor auras for 15 seconds whenever a Hex totem is cleansed. It also makes any survivor cleansing or blessing a totem oblivious for 45 seconds, but that's unimportant for this character. The perk does not do a lot on its own for you, it's not supposed to, but when combined with Hex Plaything it becomes pretty solid. Hex Plaything activates whenever you hook a survivor, making them oblivious, and tying that obliviousness to a Hex totem. Yes, it is technically a stealth perk, but it's one that is viable on Huntress. See, the Lullaby sounds the same when within 16 meters, and while most other stealth perks are still non-viable even with this, Plaything is because of this. Combining this with Retribution just gives you bonus aura reading for shots. No Way Out activates whenever a survivor touches an exit gate, blocking the gate for a minimum of 12 seconds, and adding 12 seconds for the first time each survivor is hooked for 60 seconds total throughout the trial. This is my favorite slowdown in the game, and one of the few I deem viable enough to run a Hunty Mommy. It's not supposed to carry matches like the Gen Kick meta or Old Undying Ruin combo is, it's supposed to be a closer for a match well done, and you just need a little bit of assistance from the teacher. Now I'm going to ramble for a second, as I can already see the comments saying why didn't you mention X slowdown of current day and age. And I'm going to say that it's boring. I do not like slowdown. It is just not fun to go against or use in my opinion. I rather encourage people to run fun perks and actually have a good time learning a character than kick a gen for 30 minutes and hold everyone hostage. So the last perk I'm suggesting is Hex Blood Favor from Blight. Whenever you hit a survivor, all pallets within 32 meters of you are blocked for 15 seconds. The amount of times you can just freely hit survivors with the right add-on combinations or just walking up behind them like Jason Voorhees is laughable. This was ran for about a week before most Huntresses took it off, because at the end of the day, hexes are unreliable compared to other perks. Another one that I would suggest is Blood Warden. Whenever an exit gate is open and you hook a survivor, all gates block for 60 seconds. I would suggest this one because it's fun to use and the value from it can be hit or miss, but due to one streamer known as Coconut RTS, always running this perk on Huntress, if survivors cannot confidently say that you do not have 4 specific perks, they will assume you're running Blood Warden and just leave, making this a dead perk slot. And now for the biggest mistake Huntresses fall for. Shadowborn does one job. It increases your field of view by 15 degrees, because for some reason behavior is still not added in an FOV slider for killers. This might not seem like a lot, it's just a little bit of field of view, I hear you say. Well, the moment you slap it on, your brain is already inhaling this sweet shadow drug like oxygen. I've seen plenty of Huntresses fall victim to this perk. I myself have a perma-stuck on Blatant Billy from my own mistakes. The reason it is so addicting is because hatchets are thrown slightly above the left of the W in thrown hatchet, not the middle. By running Shadowborn, it centers your hatchets, making your aim just a little bit better and easier to accomplish. Also, flicking becomes a lot easier because you have to move your mouse/controller less, and it just looks nice. Which, can I say how sad it is to see so many Huntresses still losing a perk slot to this damn thing? I don't think I've ever seen Max, Whisperx, or Hex play without it from the moment I've seen one stream. Which, side note, if you want something that is not nearly as sarcastic as this guide for Huntress, catch me live on Twitch and maybe I'll give honest answers. And, yeah, that's it for this guide, I guess. See y'all for whenever I finish making a guide for a character you can't even buy anymore.